tendency. So they all try to find the middle of your data set. This is ridiculously small data, just so you guys know. You're going to get more on the AC. But this is just to practice, to warm up. Do I know how to do it on a small scale? I'll transfer it over to a bigger scale. Rich, would you be so kind to turn off the lights for me, please, and thank you. There we go. Remember this, on your study sheet, you should have this. If median is required to be found, you must arrange. You can't just pick the middle value if it's not arranged, because it's finding the middle, right? Half of the values will be below, half will be above. So go ahead and do that. So this is 3, oh no, actually 0, right? 0, then 3, then 7, no, sorry, 6, then 7, then 8, then 12, and then 19. Okay, so it's an odd number of values. So what you do is you just pick the middle, right? So that's the median. We can figure that out right off the bat. The median is 7, right? 3 values below, 3 will be, sorry, 3 below, 3 above. There we go. Median is done. For the average, you don't need to arrange to find the average, right? But what's the sum of this if I add all of this up? So 0, 3 and 6 is 9. This is 16, 24, 36, 55, right? Is that 55? Confirmation? 55? Yeah? Okay. And then you count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values. So you divide it by 7. And so it's 55 divided by 7. That's 7.86. Today, right now, we don't have units, so we just slap on units like that. Okay. Same with the median, units. And the mode, is there a mode here? In this case, there is no mode because everything shows up once, so none. Okay, there is none or no mode. Okay. And we have that the median, watch this guys, the mean, the average, is right about there, right, after 7. The median is right there in the middle, and the mode is not existent, but the mean and the median are very close together, and it's kind of pointing towards the middle of the data set. Okay, so there you have that. Next, we have bigger values. Oh, question? One second.
Excuse the interruption, please. At this time, we are asking.
Sorry, Rich, you were saying? That's correct. Right? The average between, like, if you make 1,000, another 1,000, your average is 1,000, right? So yeah, that's correct. So let's arrange this real quick. I changed these numbers. That's why I have to do it with you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Come on in. Come on in. Any seats that are open are yours. 112, right? 112, 112. Another 112 right there. Okay. And then we have 129 here, another 129 there. And we have 145. We have 167 and 193, right? So, and then just make sure you count 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that checks out. So to find the average, we know it's going to be divided by 8 for sure. So it's 3 times 112 plus 2 times 129 plus 145 plus 167 plus 193. That's 1,099. Is that what we're getting? Yeah, okay, good. Divided by 8, that's 137.38 units. Okay, that could be dollars, it could be minutes, you name it. We don't know, so we'll just go with that. Next, I'm going to figure out my mode. Okay, the mode is the one that appears most often, and in this case, there's only one mode, right? This shows up 3 times, so that is the most popular. So 112 units. Then we have the median. Do you remember the trick? Make sure you have this on your study sheet. I mean, in this case, it's actually small enough. You can probably do this, right? And then you realize 129, it would be the 2 middle numbers, right? So it's 129 plus 129 divided by 2. I go through the motions here, but that's really 129, right? You don't need to figure it out. And you'll find out that if it's 128 and 129, that it will be 128.5, right? That will be the middle. So just heads up on that. Units. Which one of these, so 137 point, because I'm going to ask you that from time to time. This is where your average would be. Obviously, your median is right there. And your mode is here. Okay? In this case, the mode is not close to the center. It's actually further off to the left. So mode would not be a good indication of center in this particular case. Let's talk about negatives because you're going to have negatives today. Okay? When you have negatives, you simply take the sign of it and just keep subtracting, right? And then when you have positives, you just add, right? So in this case, careful. I don't have an, actually there will be an example down here. So I'm just gonna give you what this is. So write this down. It's 17 divided by 8, which is, that is your average. Is there a mode here? I don't have a mode, so I'll write that down. None. And the median, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 values. So you can just go in like this, and it happens to be 3 are your 2 middle values. So it's 3 plus 3 divided by 2, which is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. No surprises there. Okay. And then we have this is now where word problem comes in, right? You have a bunch of points here. So the average number of points scored over 5 games is going to be the addition of all of those numbers there. So 78 plus 95 plus 69 plus 101 plus 81. That's 424 divided by 5. That's 84.8 points per game. That's what you're finding here, because it's 5 games and it's 424 points altogether that you've accumulated, right, over time. So when you divide them, it's actually points per game on average that you're scoring. And the last one. Let me just check here if I have. Yeah, here it is. So I'm just gonna give you what this is. So because it's asking for median down here, watch, down here, I'm gonna arrange this from smallest to largest. Do you know how to do that? Let's put our phones away, guys. Let's follow. So in this case, the smallest value is negative 33.4, right? So I'm going to arrange that right here. Negative 33.4, comma. Negative 32.4 is the next, which happens twice, by the way. So I'm going to cancel those. And you're slowly getting warmer, right? So So the next one is negative 30.1. Then we have negative 26.4. Then we have negative 24.4 here. Negative 19.4. Negative 11.8. Negative 9.2. Oh, I'm running out of room here. Negative 0.8, 0.8, and 3.3. Okay, that's the arranged. If you go through this whole list, and there are 12 months, so I'm just going to check 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's actually 12 values there. What's the average temperature? We're dealing with 12 months. Can you add this up? Right? That's the question. Do you know how to do negatives? So really, it's a bunch of negatives just subtracting, right? So when you have a bunch of negatives, you just, if you have a calculator like mine, you can actually just type negative, right? Minus 32.4, minus 32.4, minus 30.1, and let's keep going. Plus 0.8, right? There's minus 0.8, then plus 0.8. You can kind of cancel them out. Plus 3.3. So that's negative 216.2. That's what you get. And that's actually degrees Celsius, right? What are we adding? Degrees Celsius. And we're dividing it by 12 numbers. That represents the 12 months. So I'm just going to divide that by 12. And that is negative 18.02 degrees Celsius, right? That's the average temperature for this particular year, right? Every month, if you were to spread it out. So if you compare this to Manitoba, what do you think our average temperature would be if you had to compare that to Manitoba? Well, if you add it all up and divided it, I'm sure our average wouldn't be negative 18. It'd probably be warmer, right? So averages are quite often used to compare, right? To compare countries in terms of temperature, in terms of income, in terms of a lot of things, right? Schools are being compared in terms of the average, right? If a school has a higher average, right, it says something about maybe the students, the teachers, whatever, right? But you're comparing, right? Governments use it to compare all the time. For example, on average, we probably pay more taxes than most other provinces, right? And so there, it would be on average because there's so many different taxes that are being paid. What's the median temperature in this case? There are 12 months, right? Careful with this one. It's even. So with median, you need to arrange and you need to figure out whether or not it's even or odd. If it's an even number of values, you got to go like this. 12 divided by 2, which tells you that you're going to have to take the 6th value in the data set, add the one right next to it, which in this case is the 7th, and then divide it by 2. So let's go up and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are the two values that we're going to add. And you're like, adding? They're negative. Yeah, that's okay. Plus negative 19.4. I hope this should not throw you off, guys, at this point in grade 12. But if it does, here it is. I will just tell you that you can, if you have a decent calculator, type it in exactly like that. Negative 24.4 plus, you put that in brackets, negative 19.4. Do you remember what happens when a positive and a negative meet? It's always negative, right? Opposite signs are always negative. So this is really going to be a negative. It's going to be negative 24.4 minus that number. So that is negative 43.8 divided by 2, which is negative 21.9 degrees Celsius, right? So that is the median I will tell you this. Half of the, sorry, what happened there? Half of the months are colder, half are warmer. That's what you just found in this context. That's what median does, half and half, right? Which is quite cold. Think about it, 6 months of the year, it's colder than this, right? You might think like that's Manitoba. It's like, no, it's not quite that bad here, right? So this is where I end for now. Okay.